Welcome to Tempo.
What's up?
Can you keep up?
Up, y'all.
They can't keep up. We in the building.
All right.
Okay, sorry, I'm just taking
All right.
taking a second here. Sorry. Go
So
ahead
how
and go ahead
everybody
and get
been?
We're still playing. What's been going on? How's the school situation going?
I'm doing great.
Personally,
Down
I
my
am.
way. I'm cool with it. You know, same thing. You know, been doing quarantine music and stuff. Hanging in there. You know, using the air conditioner a lot.
Oh, yeah.
It's been hot. It's been cold. I think it's gonna be a cold winter.
I hope it is, man. My bills I could use the break from the air conditioner.
No,
Start doing it.
the air conditioner was created, but that's one of the things that God created for us to use
Mm-hmm.
to make us feel better.
Oh, yes.
It came in back in the day, but hey, you know, just while, you know, telling about my week, I look, this coming out tomorrow,
That's right. Poison Ivy.
Poison Ivy, coming out
You
tomorrow on
guys
all
check
the
that.
platforms,
Sweet.
iTunes and Spotify and all that stuff.
So we've had a lot going on this week. One of the biggest stories, I think, is school. What's going on
The
with
corona.
school?
With the corona, and we ain't talking about beer.
Right. We ain't talking about no beer. So I know a lot of the counties here in Ohio, which actually, if you look at the map, most of them that are going like virtual is like the major ones. Like, of course, like Montgomery County, I think, is almost all are going virtual. And then some of the little counties are going hybrid, which is like 2 days in school, 2 days virtual. And then
Yeah,
like,
they're trying to spread out the schedule.
out in the outskirts, they're just doing regular in school 5 days a week.
But look, that don't make sense to me though. What's the difference between going Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and then virtual Tuesday and Thursday? Like, does that lower the percentage? I mean, either way it go, if you went Monday, you don't go Tuesday, it's more likely you contracted something Tuesday to come back with Wednesday.
Well, you know, like they're going Monday and then they don't go again. I want to say till Thursday. Like with mine. Well, originally when they talked about it, he was gonna go Tuesday. Wednesday would be virtual. He'd be out of class, or no, he'd be in class Thursday, and then Friday everybody would do home. So it was Monday, Wednesday virtual or in class, Tuesday, Thursday in class, and then Friday would be all virtual. That way they
Okay, so they doing that to spread the students out.
yeah, so but that way they were able to get less kids in each day. But now they've changed it for his district. They're all going virtual.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? How different places are taking it differently, and I think that's probably, to be fair, how we should be doing it to a degree. But like, I mean, it's funny because I'm actually looking up.
This reminds me of that movie Demolition Man with Wesley Snipes.
Yep.
And they wouldn't allow to, like, remember, well, I forgot her name, but the girl now, she was like, don't do physical touching, and it was dapping each other up like,
Yep. Didn't we talk about this before?
you're gonna have to do virtual sets in a little bit.
Right.
That's the truth, right? Like, think about it. How many virtual dates have there been since this thing went down? And because people don't want to go meet each other because of the virus, you know what I mean? Like, so virtual relationships are probably going through the roof right now. I didn't even think about it. I know I definitely heard about
It's already kind of like that now, you know?
dating in this, and that it's all virtual. It's really weird, but it's better than nothing, you know? Like, yeah, I don't know. virtual dating sounds too much work, but like I can imagine being for a
I mean, I
fun
feel bad for the teachers. I mean, they've got. I mean, they don't have a
friend
choice.
who's a teacher in Florida.
Why
Right?
this didn't happen when I was in school?
I know, right?
When I went to high school, I'd have been happy. I know kids are happy on the slide. They're like, man, we ain't in school. We just sit at home, eat snacks.
Right.
I wonder if this is a different thing for them because this has got to be a
I used to skip
traumatizing.
school just to watch Ricky Lake.
Well, I mean, it's just. I mean, especially here in Ohio, y'all used to have snow days all the time. So like, we don't.
I don't care.
When I lived in South Carolina, we only get out of there. It's like a hurricane coming. I mean, I remember when I was in school, like it snowed 4 times in South Carolina, and literally they shut down everything. A dusting, and they'd shut down everything. So, for here especially, I would think it's really not a lot different. But I know they said that, like Illinois, I think it was maybe a Chicago school district, they have prohibited them from wearing pajamas. So they have to get up, they have to follow a schedule, and then start their school day and everything, which, to be honest, is probably what everybody needs to do. Like, you shouldn't get up and just like wander in.
My mic was muted, so I was doing the sign language. Ever seen that sign language when Mike DeWine be talking? They be like,
yeah.
That's why I turned the sound back up. I thought you were doing that. I was like, you know what? I'm ruining your bit.
my mic was muted, so I was doing the sign language. Like,
I was trying to make it sound a little bit better. I'm sorry. It was just it was getting a little accurate there. But hey, we're good. Managing the show. We're making it work back here. Diligently working behind the scenes.
I mean, schools are just. I'm nervous for my son. I feel like as adults, we can take responsibility for ourselves. Kids don't get that choice. Kids don't. First of all, they don't have the immunity that we have worked up. They don't have the sense that, there's 20 people over there. Maybe I shouldn't go hang out in that crowd.
I remember as a kid too. This had put a lot of kids back. Not only with like what makes it hard is daycares aren't even open. So like the kids that can't go to school, you don't even have nowhere to take them for somebody to watch them.
They've reopened them.
Yeah, no, they've
they'll overflow though. They could get overflowed because of the situation.
Well, and that was the thing for the longest time. They had like the reduced amount. They could only have like so many kids in a room, and now they've lifted those. So now it's pretty much back to normal. But again, what I'm saying, do you want to? Like, I don't want to put my kid in daycare with a bunch of other kids. I mean, and this is no kid in general. Like, kids are nasty anyway. I mean,
right. Some kids be there digging up their ass. You don't know what's going on.
Right. So, I mean, again, I personally wouldn't. Literally, we get to work from home. So,
yeah, but now the kids can work from home. But if the parents are dumb, like this is why it's good some of us graduated from high school, because he was dumber than the 5th grader.
Right. But a lot of the schools,
you can't teach your kid nothing.
A lot of the schools now have a system in place. They don't have, it's not, I mean, when it happened in the spring, it was kind of a spur of the moment, like, what are we doing? Because there was even like a period of like 2 weeks, I want to say, where the kids didn't have anything going on. And then they finally got it figured out. Okay, we're going to do this. Now, they've had all summer. They've worked out. I know my sons. They meet at a certain time in the morning. Then they'll do their assignments. Then they'll meet again at another time during the day. Like, it's not like before where it was like,
right. I think this is going to affect kids in the long run, because in school they don't just learn about the class; they learn to socialize too.
Well, that's
so they won't be able to go to socialize and learn to manage their time. Like they have the lunch and recess. So it kind of puts something in the back of your mind when you learn to manage your time.
Right. And I mean, my son's kindergarten teacher, he and I had some conversations about that, you know, and like the kid talking in class one time, he said, you know, I don't really fault kids for that because, to be honest, they learn just as much from each other, if not more, than they do from the teacher. And that's totally true. I mean, you and I, like, how much did we work together when we were in college? You know, so again, they do need that. I mean, especially for these kids that like mine, he doesn't have brothers and sisters, so he's around grown-ups all the time.
Right, and a lot of kids got low attention span at home. I know if I would have had to go to school from home, I probably wouldn't have made it through the 7th grade.
Right.
I would go outside that close, and then if your parents can't be home, there's going to be a lot of kids left at home without babysitters. This might be the time to start babysitting. That market might come up fast.
But it was a different time. I mean, you think about it, the late 80s and 90s, we were always home alone. I mean, parents had to work. But like back then, it was the fear of God in them. Like, you knew if you didn't do what Mama said, you'd get beat when Mama got home. Whether it was 2 o'clock in the morning, or whether it was 7 o'clock at night.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing. I think we have true, right? Which is the kids, they don't have a chance to choose for themselves in this situation. Like me, all three of us are in the podcast in the studio. That we enough, but we're going to do it, right? And, you know,
right.
While working.
But that even trickles down, like I'm talking about, like into college sports. Like right now, what's going on with college sports? Now, this is a big thing. Now, online classes got more popular, you know, with there's so many different ones that's going on. So I guess people are virtually getting into that anyway.
Right.
But now the sports thing is a whole different story. Like, for instance, them shutting down the season like the Big Ten and the Pac-12. Think about the freshmen who got scholarships to these schools, and this is their first year to show their stuff. To even try to get out. Like, anybody who's a freshman this year is not going to get drafted.
Well,
like,
you know,
they have 2 more years they're eligible. They're fine. They still have plenty of time to show that.
I mean, it's it. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's going to be kind of a pain, but yeah, no,
if you're good enough to make it,
what about the team, though?
So, for example, all the guys that would have been drafted here from this year, like Trevor Lawrence, the #1 pick, he's still going to be the #1 pick.
But look, the Big Ten is not starting till the spring. So think about their stars and team that's seniors. They're going to be drafted. The NFL draft comes before the season starts.
No, all the seniors from this year that are going to get drafted still will get drafted. We won't have any.
So the top teams are going to have the same lineup. Like, some college teams are planning to kill it this year, but they're not going to have any star players because some of them might get drafted to the NFL before the new season starts up.
Well, no.
It's going to be a problem.
Yeah, I mean, they'll have to work something out for it because they won't even have that.
With the you know what though? You know what I will say? I don't mean to interrupt you. You know what I will say? With the transfer portal option that they have now to just transfer to any school without having to wait, it could end up working out for some teams. There could be some guys that, like, because they can fall apart, choose to go to another team that fall apart. The schedule's enough cases that slide a quarterback, a running back, a cornerback in there. You know what I mean? Like, suddenly they're another team. You know, college sports.
I think that's gonna mess some college team seasons though. Like some of the team seasons, like Ohio State, that's gonna be damaged. Like, some of the seniors are leaving. Like, they're gonna get drafted before the season starts.
I'm not worried about Ohio State.
To be a big team.
I'm not worried about Ohio State. Ohio State is a farm school. They'll have plenty of prospects coming through. You know what I mean? Like, that's what they are. You know what I mean? Like, they draft almost half of their team into the NFL every year. It feels like, you know, like. So I have faith that they're gonna figure that out. And teams like Ohio State, I don't think are gonna be as affected because of the amount of money they have to spend to keep these players. Not that they pay for them like that, but they still have to have money to go spend in scouting department and stuff like that. You know, so. But I mean, yeah, it's fascinating because I want to see college football come back so bad because I got so into it last year. I mean, you guys watch me do it. I got so into the draft and all that stuff leading up to it. And
yeah, it's going to be the college team that's going to win the championship this year is going to be a team that don't have seniors. That's going to have the same team they had.
It genuinely could be too that the teams that you would have thought, like Clemson might be done without Trevor Lawrence, but they already have another 5-star prospect backup quarterback.
Oh, yeah, that's the beautiful thing about
Still
it.
got to get experience.
I don't think they're going to necessarily win. They're going to still have a pretty decent team around that kid, though, and that kid's going to walk right into a great situation just like Lawrence did. So as long as that kid has the sauce, that team should be fine. Ohio State should be fine, you know.
Yeah, but
Let's all.
it's a big deal.
This will be the first year that Jim Harbaugh does not lose to Ohio State.
That was good.
Big ups.
That was good.
To Jim Harbaugh for that. Speaking of that, did you hear about the conference call with the Big Ten coaches where Jim Harbaugh made the comment in the beginning? He's like, before we get started, I just want to point out that Ohio State's been practicing, even though y'all told us not to, and blah, blah, like definitely trying to rat out good grief, his name's Ryan Day. And Ryan Day pretty much was like, why don't you guys worry about our – and then he proceeded to make the comment, there better be a mercy rule in place because we're going for 100 points this year in our game.
All right. Well, yeah, I mean, never expect Jim Harbaugh to mince sports. The man said exactly what he's thinking and that's how you get where he's gotten, NFL champion, Super Bowl contender. I don't know. Did him? No, his brother won that, right? It wasn't him. Yeah, but that was, by the way, one of the coolest things. I just got to go back to that for a second. I don't know if you guys remember that at Super Bowl, the 49ers versus the Ravens Super Bowl from forever ago. That was so cool seeing the Harbaugh brothers coach against each other in a Super Bowl. Yes. Their parents were competitive about that. And, they didn't have a side, but they had a side. You know what I mean? Because they knew they thought they would win. I mean, I know their sons are.
That's what cabinet cut off.
Being the Harbaugh's dad, who do you root for? You root for them both, obviously. But you still you think if you know football enough, which one of them's going to win, probably.
That's like saying against Eli.
Yeah, right. There were several of those games throughout the years, right? So it's just because but it only happened so often because they were different conferences. So
Maybe getting a kid steroids like Draco and Brock.
Arch Manning, who's in college high school right now. He's the next Manning kid.
You think?
I believe he's their brother's kid, not Peyton or Eli's, their other brother maybe or something like that as a kid.
Oh, okay.
Or a cousin. He's
that
Manning.
New Rocky movie.
One of the sons.
And making these people in the lab.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. I think the Manning family are just clones of other people that have been given super sports abilities. That seems fair. Peyton Manning was literally a magician.
They got that.
There. As a Colts fan, I feel like I can say that. He was literally a magician out there. Anyway, so
they got Johnny Unitas sperm. Remember, I don't know if you ever seen Ted. Remember they tried to go get Brady's sperms.
Yeah.
Ted could have a baby. He was like, "Let's go get Brady's sperm."
Right.
Yeah.
It was like the kid's gonna be awesome.
That's I've seen that same joke made about Usain Bolt because he's so fast. Obviously, people made that joke because there was like a racehorse or something like that 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 died and it was going for expensive, and so they were like, imagine what this guy could do, Right. But I thought it was a weird comparison. British humor is definitely different, but yeah. So what do we want to jump to next? I mean, we talked about a little bit of sports. We want to stay with sports, or what do we want to do here?
Yeah, let's get a baseball update.
All right.
Getting like
all right. So I'm not going to give a full league update. I'm just going to give an update on the Indians for the Indians fans out there. Respect to the tribe. But anyway, that being said, right now the Indians are 10-9, which is a just over 500 record. They're 6-4 at home, 4-5 away. So it seems like they're pretty strong at home right now, but they're having a little bit of trouble. Right now, the Twins are in the lead 12-7 in the AL Central with the Detroit Tigers at 9-7 right behind them. So right now, it's not looking good. We lost a lot of games
Reds?
To Chicago. Let me look. The Reds are pretty. They're not even showing in the rankings. The Reds are currently. Hold on. It's not showing me here. Let me bring up the actual website.
That's like the only team I go to baseball or the Atlanta Braves. Word there.
Okay, it doesn't want to show me for some reason where the Reds are. they're worse than 8-11. How about that? Because they're not showing where the results are. So anyway.
All right.
Well, the Reds are 8-10. They're 8-10. They're in the. I forgot their National League team. Sorry about that. But anyway, yeah. So Indians aren't doing very, very, very good right now. I'd like to see them bring it back. As an Indians fan, I'm sure all the rest of you Indians fans out there that listen to our show would as well. We just gotta hope the Tribe pulls it out. It's not looking good so far. So there's about 41 games to go, so we really got to start winning some games here, or it's going to get tough real quick. A few more losses, and it's going to become hard to recover.
That is the season short.
Yeah, I mean it's 102 games less than it normally is, so it's like it's every game matters. You know what I mean? Like, so every loss really, really sucks.
Right.
It's like the NBA right now.
Oh. You got to you were there on me with the wavelength, but I didn't get there fast enough. I had to scroll. Anyway, so yeah, what's going on with the NBA right now?
Well, the NBA, got a few more games left, and they're about to start playoffs in a little bit.
How are the Magic doing so far? Are they doing
Magic?
Okay?
They better do some magic if they want to go to the playoffs.
Oh no!
The Magic are 32-40.
Oh no! Oh man!
But they could.
Let's see. Let's just look. Where are the Cavaliers? Let's think.
The Cavaliers are like 5-50.
The record they had at the beginning of the season is what made me look for a team, because I was like, this is a good default team to have if I'm ever watching the NBA, because it's my
love team. That's a disrespect team. Like, you play somebody on NBA 2K with Cavaliers, just if you play real good and they put the Lakers, you just drag them with Cavs.
Yeah.
That's what you break the control.
I gotta pull it up. I'm trying.
Oh, I can bring up the standings right now for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
I'm starting to like the Blazers. Damian Lillard's been killing it. Since the season started back up.
I
don't think he do it by himself. I don't think they're big enough to beat the Lakers, though.
The Cavs are 19-46.
Good grief, yeah.
Okay.
Every win for them is like a championship.
The Lakers are 51-14. That's not bad.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty solid.
That's not bad. That's destructive.
Are you thinking that LeBron's going to take it this year?
It's a good chance, right?
Yeah, if they can get past the Clippers.
You think?
The Clippers and Portland. So they bigger than everybody. They should. They're supposed to. But then they still got to worry about. They still got to worry about Milwaukee too.
So right
and
now,
Toronto. Don't forget the chance. Toronto's still balling.
Looks like Milwaukee's in the lead.
Yep, Milwaukee's in the lead in the Eastern Conference. So it
Toronto
looks like it looks like the Magic are right in the middling area where if you win, if you were to win a bunch, then you're in. But if not, and there's only so many games until the playoffs, so it's like they really have to turn it up now. My teams are in tough spots right now, boys. I'm not liking it.
Yes.
The Cavs are also back against the wall right now. They've lost literally most of their games. This is a terrible year for my sports teams. Hopefully the Colts.
I like winning.
I'm calling it now. The Colts are winning the Super Bowl. That's why everything's going to crap.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, I got it.
Because in 2016, that's when the Colts fell apart in the middle of the season, and Andrew Luck retired the next year.
Used to that. What?
That's the year that the Indians made it to the World Series.
True.
Okay? The Caps win the 2017 or 2019, 18, whatever it was, Stanley Cup. The Colts don't have Andrew Luck the next year. I'm telling you, it's a sign. Colts are winning the Super Bowl this year.
Well, Colts win the Super Bowl unless they make their one boy the punter.
Like, I had to get clarification. Like, this year has been so messed up. I've lost track of time. Like, we were watching a concert earlier today, me and my girlfriend, and I was like, did we see them last year or was it like 10 years ago? And she's like, last year. I'm like, oh, because like everything seems like a blur. Like last year we ended up going to like 4 or 5 concerts, but I'm like, I can't remember any of them being recent. Like it feels like 10 years ago.
There ain't no concerts now.
Nope. Well, they're talking about them drive-ins, but like Garth Brooks had his, it was like $100 a ticket. And I think Luke Bryan did one.
Yeah,
I
I don't even know.
ticket.
Ready to do one? They're going to do like one
Yeah.
night.
It's fascinating the different lengths people are going to still try and make money during all this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like, but I respect an artist wanting to still do that. I personally wouldn't go to a
Because
drag.
people need entertainment.
I don't think it'd be as entertaining. Like, there's something about being down in the crowd watching an artist that you really do love or like, even you know, like that you just can't replicate.
Everybody starts singing together.
Right.
Yeah, and I guess you could have that in the cars. I'm sure it's still fun. I just don't go to concerts enough for this to be that big of a deal for me. You know, like, you know what I mean? Like, I go to a concert once every couple of years. It's not that I don't go to concerts frequently. It's just that they're expensive, so I can't go to them as much. So I don't, you know. But occasionally when I do, I'll usually make a big deal out of it. You know, like
I like going to concerts you can sit down at. I got caught up in that.
Right,
I went
you
to
don't.
that David Chappelle concert last year, man. I got stuck in the crowd. I couldn't sit down. It's like 100 degrees outside. I was sweating. I was like, I forgot to put on deodorant that day. I was like, so I had to keep my arms down the whole time.
Yep. Yeah.
I didn't lift my lighter up in the sky. I was like looking at Tyrannosaurus because your arms sticky lifted up. People like.
You just stick a thing in your mouth. You hold down the little gas thing with your tongue, so you can do this. But anyway, yeah. So I guess let's just stick with sports. So recently there's been obviously a lot of social unrest in this country. We've talked about it on the show a few times.
Yeah.
And so it looks like Jerry Jones specifically is doing some interesting stuff recently. We'll get to him in a second, but
he might as well be a politician and run for something.
Well, I think he's building up.
Change mind, switching up. Can't change your mind.
Should I? Nah, I'm going to leave it as anthem. People know I mean the national anthem, I hope. But anyway, I just thought about that. But yeah, so I mean, it's we've all made our position
about DJ Khaled music,
right? Like, we know how we all feel. Like, I don't think any of us disagree with the athletes' right to do this, right?
Yeah.
It's their platform. Let them use it, right. I guess. You know, I mean, however you want to phrase that. You know, like, on top of that,
they're not kneeling to disrespect flag. They're trying to kneel to show attention to the.
And the sad thing about that is, if you pay attention to the news story that originally came from, Colin Kaepernick went to a guy in the military and asked him what was more respectful, sitting down on the bench or kneeling. Basically, like, he was like, well, I think he told him he was going to sit down on the bench, and the guy was like, I'd really prefer if you just knelt. You know, just at least show respect for the flag in some way. You know,
right? You got to do that because, like, people kneeling during that national anthem, it still shows respect,
right?
You know what I mean? Because you're still kind of standing, but the reason people are kneeling is because during the national anthem, everybody pays attention to that. You know, even at the stadium, everybody puts their hand on their heart. And kneeling is a way to get attention when the attention is due. And
well, imagine if it was reversed.
It still represents America, but kneeling represents what we want, the change that people want in America.
Well, picture this situation reversed. Right? What if it was kneeling was the common thing during the national anthem and someone chose to stand up? I feel like that would be much more impactful, but because it's more power, because, you know, with all the people down and the one person up, it feels like more of a powerful image. Not that it doesn't look the same reversed. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it wouldn't be any different, but I bet people would look at it differently. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, they probably jump like, what?
Because it's not like, because it feels like when you kneel down when something like that, it's supposed to be super serious. Like, I just feel like there's a connotation associated with it at this point that shouldn't be, right? Like, why is it every time somebody takes a political stance in sports now, it's a national news story?
Right.
I'd rather it be a national news story because they're taking the stand, not because the stand itself is offensive to people. Like, I respect the military. I respect everybody that's fought and died for this country and served in the military. I've dedicated hours of my life to helping those people. I respect them probably more.
I respect them too, but it's a serious issue going on right now that does need to be addressed, and just like ignoring it is what's caused the problem in the first place. Is people are ignoring the fact that just like when you hear them talking about in politics about all the different things going on with all these protests and riots going on, this can go bad. Oh, it can go way left real fast. And the bottom line is, it does happen.
I've been making the joke recently.
Injustice.
Right? I wonder how true it is at this point, right? All it takes is one big thing in this country at this point for there to be some kind of civil unrest that spills over into some kind of revolution, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, and I don't blame the people for that because they're getting snatched off the streets in Portland right now, you know? Like, at least they were, you know, like, I don't know if that's still going on or not, but presumably not because of how badly it was received, but who knows?
Yeah, some people got a message, some people don't. Like, it's different points on both sides. It's kind of like, well, you need the police or you don't need the police. Is the protest against the police or is the protest against the bad police? Or is it against the executive or the judicial branch for not, you know, handling the business the way they're supposed to when those type of injustices happen? Which is what I think.
This is going to be a controversial
the judicial system being uneven.
I'm going to make a controversial statement right now. I don't think most of the I think there is a police problem in this country, obviously. I think most of the problem that happens in the justice system in this country happens in the judicial part.
This is the problem.
Right. The executive branch is the money.
This is what it boils.
Legislative makes the laws.
We were all.
The judicial decides the sentences, right? So that's who's messing people's lives up.
Right.
Not that if the police hadn't got them there in the first place, would they ever be in that situation? I'm not saying that. Right? Obviously, that's part of the problem. But I think harsh judgments get passed upon people because of the color of their skin.
It could be. I mean,
you know, is that crazy for me to say? I mean,
no, because you're absolutely right. I mean, you're absolutely right in that sense.
And it's controversial to say because nobody wants to admit that.
Well,
but it's the truth. The justice system in this country is completely stacked against people of color. You know, it really is.
Yes.
And I hate having to say that on our podcast, but it's kind of true, you know?
I mean, honestly, what it boils down to is...
I'm supposed to a stat against it. Isn't they make it a category? Well, and see, making it a category what makes the issue.
Again, the issue
I feel like, you know... Okay.
What I was going to say was, a lot of these problems these are the people, the ones that act the way they do and get, you know, that treat people like crap that they have no right to. The problem is they were beat up. They were bullied when they were a kid. And now that they've got power, that's what they use that for.
But I agree with you. I think some of them are probably in that situation. I don't think that changes the situation for me. I was bullied when I was younger. And I don't treat people like crap now, you know, like.
It's kind of like, you know, alcoholism. If your parents are alcoholics, doesn't mean you have to be an alcoholic. If your boss is an asshole, doesn't mean you have to be an asshole. You know, you need to
be the boss. You do.
That's true. If your boss's boss is a boss,
you have to take responsibility for your actions, and that's the issue that people don't get nowadays. I mean, and that's not just with the police. That's with everything. Like nobody is held responsible for their own actions. There's always these other, you know, when somebody goes to jail, my daddy beat me, or, you know, this happened to me. So what does that have to do with what you did to this person? You know, and again,
right.
That's where I feel like that all comes from.
You know, it's funny. This has been one of the most powerful statements. I'm about to throw it up as a title really quickly. This is one of the most powerful statements I've seen recently, and it's accurate as heck. I don't know where the quote is from, so I won't quote it, but sorry, I'm typing. But this to me kind of explains the situation and puts it into perspective for people that don't understand. And that's what I'll leave you guys.
That's true.
Yeah.
Racism now, racism, you're right. Like, you can say racism is getting worse, it's just getting filmed. People are able to see it more because even some of the things that we've seen happen lately are things that's been going on. Like, it's nothing brand new, you know, in an urban community.
Right.
It's just now things are getting filmed, and with it being filmed, it's having to be addressed. And with that having to be addressed, that's when you find out the judicial system and the legislative and executive ain't set up all together like it needs to be. That's one of the reasons that we have the way things going like our elections. You know, even to say, you know, I don't know how everything goes, but just for instance, Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, but Donald Trump won the electoral college. Mm-hmm. So because he won electoral college, even though he got dragged in the popular vote, that shows that there's two different type of systems, which is what they're going through now. Like with the voting system, where they're talking about people want to mail in ballots, so the Democrats don't want to do anything unless they're financed like $3.5 billion. So that way they can finance their campaign and pay the U.S. Postal Service, what, like 25 million or 25 billion, something like that. So that way they can do all mail-in ballots.
Is that the reason why they want that? Because like I don't think that's going to solve your problem. Of
they want to do all mail-in ballots, but then Trump's argument is it will just be completely rigged if we do all mail-in ballots.
I mean, there's a fair statement. There was a North Carolina story, right? There was a guy jailed and removed from Congress in North Carolina because of this, right? So it's a real problem,
But
it is a legit
like
thing.
I don't know if you ever done jury duty before.
Do what?
Yeah. Have you ever done jury duty before?
No,
like
but
when you go do jury duty, you see how they it's like 200 people in there, and they break it all the way down to like 12 people out of them 200. But then you got to look at who's choosing the jurors, or it's somebody sitting there deciding whose app was good enough to be on this case.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is how it shouldn't be decided. Like, and you get a messed up jury, you out of luck.
That's why they're supposed to be there. I mean, when I did jury duty, I mean, like the one I did, and this was 30 years ago, it was a murder trial. And, the questions they asked to get to that point, like, have you ever been involved in, jury duty? No. Have you ever been, known anybody that owned a gun? No. Have you, shot anybody? No. Like the questions they get at, like that's why it is the way it is. I mean, with this, like when the trial comes up, they're going to say, do you have family members that are police officers? Well, you're going to be out of that jury, just things like that, because they want people that are not used to that situation. So they have to look at the evidence.
Yeah, and it's like the Price is Right. If you don't have a lawyer, you have to go ahead and stick with the jury that was picked. Now, if you have a lawyer, your lawyer can walk up there and exclude some jury duty, like some of the people in the jury, like, I don't like him, I don't like him, I don't like him.
Yep.
Take them off. But that's the difference. See, that shows that even like with the legislative branch, you got to have money in order to even get a fair jury trial. True. Because if you don't have a lawyer to exclude the people, or even because the lawyer gets the information about the jurors, you don't get the information as being the one being prosecuted. So if you have a lawyer, your lawyer can look at the ones that's there like, oh, this is going to hurt. Well, we would have kept these 3 people in here. You definitely would have lost this. You definitely going to jail. But they're able to exclude those people, which is well seen in the O.J. Simpson trial. Not trying to send O.J., but he came on here guilty. And then some kind of way, whether conspiracy or whatever. But the fact that you're able to pick your jury a little bit, pick and choose your jury because you're able to afford a lawyer, which is where the unbalance comes. Which is why you show money really makes this country like if you got the money, you can do whatever you want to do.
Is there a fair argument?
That's what's going on with these sports now.
Argument to be made, Phil, for somebody like the representation that you're provided in this country has to be equal to that of something of the other side. Like maybe they have to take a look at the lawyer that's the defense lawyer, or sorry, the prosecution lawyer, and then if your lawyer doesn't up to snuff, then they have to bring in a lawyer, and you pay them their rate as the government because you have to,
Yes, like money, you don't have a choice.
But then there's the thing, right? Because if they're still expecting pay, the government's not going to foot that bill. So you're going to have to pay for that lawyer. So in order to have a quote unquote fair system where the people get paid for their work the way they feel they deserve to be paid, unfortunately it appears to be unbalanced in that way because the lawyers have to be able to get paid.
Because it's like, it's just like in car insurance. If I don't make any money, I can't get full coverage insurance. I got to get liability.
Yep.
So as long as I don't hit nobody, I'm cool.
And that's why
I don't have full coverage insurance in case I hit somebody else. Just the same in this court. If I punch somebody in the mouth, I got a lawyer. I got full coverage insurance. So I got a way to pay for me punching somebody or being at fault. You know what I mean? But if I punch somebody and I don't have full coverage insurance, and I'm gonna have to take a public defender and go ahead and plead whatever I can because they don't want me wasting their money because now they gotta pay for me.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Like, so it's like if you're and you know the government would, and I guarantee the reason why the government gives you the crappiest lawyer it can find, or just the any lawyer it can find, you know, is probably because they don't care what happens to these people, because they know that most of them.
And they got their cell phone. They tested each other. He like, Judge, what you gonna do with this guy? I'm probably gonna find him guilty. So just go ahead and tell him to confess, and I'll go ahead and cut off 6 months so we can go to lunch.
Can we talk about
they know each other
just briefly before we move on? Because I know we're still talking about this, and we do want to move on eventually. But can we just address the whole police unions thing? Because I think that's a big part of this problem too, right? Is how the police unions are kind of made in a way that lets a lot of these guys that shouldn't get away with some of these murders get away with them.
Well, that was totally horrendous. I mean, again, that was something that probably never should not have happened. Like, they know probably about it. But again, that's what the union is, basically their lawyers. I mean, and again, it's one of those things where we can't
take it away, right? Because then good cops get it away.
But my point is, you have no clue what's going to happen when you're in that situation. You really don't. I mean, one of the things I've seen many times played out was many years ago. There was a black activist who, you know, they were having issues with the police. And so they brought him in and put him in a situation that the police officers were in. Had him run through a whole scenario with fake bullets and everything, but there were bullets, so he was hitting people. But he went through this whole scenario and killed 5 more people than the actual police did by going through.
That's why I can't be no police. I would shoot everybody.
Well, and again,
but I'm not trained.
I don't know if you guys watch like the Wine with DeWine at 2 every. You know, he's doing them now like twice a week. But one of the things,
I wouldn't discriminate though.
Right. But one of the things that he talked about that, you know, kind of resonated with me was they want to push a program to get more minorities on the police force. And I thought about it. I'm like, what's stopping anybody from getting on the police force though? Like,
I would basically say it's our community too. Like, you almost can't, like, I couldn't live where I live right now and be a police officer. No way. I can, but you got to understand, like, the neighborhoods built in an urban society have been taught to police themselves and don't trust the police, don't have faith. So that's why, like, you have a lot of killings going on this side, because the neighborhoods kind of police itself. So whenever there's kind of injustice, don't nobody want to call the police to try to add them in to our own justice. But you see, it's as much killings going on in other places too. It's just,
but
ours get reported more because that's the ratings.
Let me ask you this. What is going to change that? Like, what's going to change in that community so people stop acting that way? I mean, don't get me wrong. Everybody has disagreements, and that's never going to change. But how's it going to change to where they stop shooting each other? I mean, believe me, I feel like just as much. They
have to build more opportunities, but I feel like, you know, it's the mixture of both. Democrats need to stop being so controlling, and Republicans need to stop being so uncontrolling. Like, I feel like, you know, just with these parties.
I'm talking about just human beings. Like,
human beings?
You and your neighbor. Like, I love you like a brother. I don't know, you know, we know how we both feel about politicals, you know, our political leanings and stuff. But my point is this. You have an argument with your neighbor. How bad does it have to be that you shoot him instead of going?
What it got to be is, what it is parents got to start raising their kids right. You know what I'm saying? Like, if parents raise their kids to be respectful, like they did back in the 60s and 70s, even though there was a lot more racism going on there. But you have to understand now, even on this side of town, it's a lot of single mothers out here. So most guys are being raised by women, eventually get bigger than them women, and women can't tell them no more. So they have a mentality of becoming a man at an early age, and men aren't teaching these fellas out here how to be good guys. So they glorify what they feel like should have been in their life when they was a kid, when they didn't have that father figure to go around and their mom had to work hard. So when they finally do get money, they want to make sure, you know, they show it out. They don't have no responsibility with their money. They weren't raised to like open the door for a woman. They weren't raised to like, you know what I mean, learn how to build and try to invest. Because a lot of the Earth Society is a lot of single mothers, but it's 76% like single mothers out here.
It was like 30%
so you gotta understand.
years ago or something, and it's shot through the roof. Yeah, it's crazy.
That's what's making like a lot of people become gay, because if you're raised by your mom as a kid, you know, saying nothing against any community out there, but if you're raised by women and that's all you know, that's how you gonna act. Like that's what you gonna like. The same thing, like your mom tell you, like from age 1 to 5, it's a 50% chance you're gonna be like, that guy is cute, because your brain is gonna be embedded to be like, that's the way, and you're gonna be raised to be like women. The women are a lot stronger now. You know what I'm saying? Women are a lot stronger now. You know, they handle their business a lot more. But you can't teach a man to be a man, just like a man can't teach a woman to be a woman. You can teach her how to be respected, but you can't teach her how to be a woman.
But let me ask you this.
I think that's the problem.
Fall on the human. When is it going to fall on that man to understand, like, I need to change my situation?
I think that's going to be, I know I don't want to try and speak for people. Obviously, I don't have any personal experience.
It's going to take because a grown man, it's going to have to stop kids raising kids.
People, well, you know what, I'm going to be honest, Phil. I've been hearing a lot of people talk about this recently, and the sentiment that I hear a lot is, you know, a lot of people want, and I don't blame people for wanting this, right? Because it is something that, even in the back of my head, you know, I'm wondering, it's like, when does it become okay for us to just be a society again, right? But that being said,
but you have to have
I'm not going to be the white person to sit here and say, okay, it's time to get over it because this has been like 20, 30 years removed or something like that, you know what I mean? Or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, that's not how I want to be about it, because...
Right. No, you're right.
And I'm not saying
that.
And
it look like,
Tony, I'm just
like
saying,
Tony raises his son. Tony with his son. Your son's learning how to be a man by a man, you know, you in his life. Right. It's like my cousin, like his son. You know, like, you know, you know, the same thing with me, like my son, like, you know, we in a life, but a lot of people ain't like that. In the urban community, it's glorified, you know, for women to be independent and handle in there, like, you know, do the things and cut the man off. But then the way the government's set up in urban society is written in Willie Lynch letters. If you read the Willie Lynch letters, it's set up like that to where now women have been the most oppressed, you know, black and white throughout the history. You know what I mean? But as in what's going on now, society's built in the urban community to where it's become ridiculous. It's like 76% single mothers out here raising these kids by themselves. It ain't like back in the day when you had a mean-ass daddy come home, but still once you got a certain age, you know, you sit down with your son like, man, let me show you how to chop this wood. Let me show you how to build a house. Like, who knows how to tie a slip knot anymore?
Right.
You know, it's something that's small. Can't even write in cursive anymore.
That single motherhood thing is a big deal, Phil, because it is the #1 predictor of social outcomes, like socioeconomic outcomes. If you have one parent in the household, the likelihood of you having any good socioeconomic outlook is very low. You have to be very lucky to get into a position of financial stability. And it's crazy that that's where it's at. And if you think about it, if you really break it down, the reason why the urban community has gone that way is because of the way society shunned them for so long, you know?
Yeah. Look how lions are.
Systems too. If people were sitting here and telling me, well, we don't like you and we don't accept you because of the way you look, I would be upset too and say, you know what, well then screw you. I'm going to make my own systems that work better than you. I'm going to police myself. Why would I listen to you?
Right. Exactly. And you see how lions are like lions. Like women lions are the ones that do the hunting. The men lion protect the home and don't provide. But then if the male lions went out and were just like didn't hang around the male lion, they would just hunt. And like I think that's what happened with a lot of guys and women nowadays. Like, you know, nothing against Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion, like the video that everybody's talking about, a controversy about, where they're talking, it's called WAP. If y'all ain't seen it, a lot of them in empowerment. I like the video just because I just like watching stuff like that sometimes. But like,
I mean, society glorifying this stuff. And again, it's my question is, what is going to need to happen in the community for everyone to take responsibility for themselves? Like me, I'm not rich, but I don't blame nobody. You know who I blame? Myself, because I'm lazy.
In our society, I think us men need to step up and start talking to these young guys. Like, that's even if they single mothers, we need to start getting back to having like boys and girls clubs or like even summer camp. Like, wow, what happened to that? Like, like things like that where we actually get up and start talking to it and raising the men to men again. Because when men are raised to be men, then they won't be out here trying to kill each other instead of building each other up. You think you an attack. You think everybody trying to get your mama or whatever. So and then people are real materialistic, and they're materialistic because they got to buy it and they don't know how to build. Back in the day when people know how to build, like back in the day, people knew how to make a boat. You could sit down, like think about like our grandparents. Our grandparents knew how to build a house with their hands. They knew how to, make a fire without a lighter. They knew how to, do different things like tie their shoes, for instance. You know what I mean? Or make a belt. It's all kinds of tricks that old people got remedies for when you get sick that is not carrying on and being inherited by the future. And I think that's what's making a difference in society, because it's becoming more about money because people don't have skill. They don't have any knowledge, no brand, don't nobody read any books no more. Everything's automated and online. So where you sit down and you can only learn what people tell you, but you don't have nobody personally to show you, which is why I think school is important for people to go there, because at the same time you still get to interact with people, because that makes a lot of difference too on people that's in a single parent household to go there. Your gym teacher might be a guy, your coach. That's what makes these football players and basketball players, I think, different from a lot of people in society, because sometimes their coach is the closest person. Like when you think of Mike Jordan, he talk about Phil Jackson a lot.
Yeah,
as favorite coach.
True.
I mean, if you have a positive male role model in your life, even if you don't have a father necessarily, it can definitely be as impactful. Not having a positive male figure in your life can, as a male, really make it very difficult for you to get through life. Okay, well, we just spent like the last 20 minutes talking about this stuff, and it was really good discussion. I really am glad we actually finally sat down and had a really long discussion about this stuff, because we kind of.
Are y'all gonna vote for Kanye West?
Yes.
What about? I'm not.
I'm voting for Kanye. I don't like the selection. I'm voting for Kanye. No, anyway.
What y'all think about? Like, what y'all think about though about Kamala and Biden together versus Trump?
I mean, I feel like Biden picked her he only picked her to try and win the vote. Like he didn't.
Think that's the reason?
Yeah, like I'll
dog his ass out.
I don't mean it in a bad way, but like I'll pick the minority so that I can get the minority vote. I mean, that's like.
I mean, there's definitely a factor of that in there, right? We can all admit there's a factor of it in there, just a tiny, minuscule amount at the very least, right? Because Joe Biden's.
Because look, she dogged out primaries, like in the Democrat primary. Oh my gosh, she just destroyed him, like.
Right.
And then switched her whole thing around to run with him. I'm like, I don't know about that, buddy. I think he should have rather went with Michelle Obama or something.
Well, that would have gotten the Obamas back in office. I'll admit that, but
I was
guaranteed.
Fun if he picked Obama, because you can technically legally do that and then just resigned.
Well, yeah, that was the story years ago.
But
I read an article a couple months ago where that was where how they got President Obama back in the office was, he took Michelle as his vice president, and then he resigned like a month afterwards, and so then she becomes the president, and then she can pick Oprah to be her, vice president, and that's how.
Yeah, but look at this. They're saying Kamala's going to be the first Black woman vice president. First of all, when she was running for president, she did not identify herself as Black. She identified herself as like Jamaican and South Asian. Now that she's running, she's super pro-Black. I'm like,
Is there a distinction made in
I mean, I understand that. I mean, she pretty much is black. You know what I mean? But that's like me saying. But that's like me saying, since you're fucking from the Philippines, you're Chinese almost. Like that's how I feel like they're coming about that. It just doesn't look. That's not a good look. You can't say you're South Asian and make a switch up and say they're black now.
Because I didn't understand the distinction, but now it makes a lot more sense. If somebody was from China and I was from the Philippines, we're both from Asia. We're both Asians, but I'm not Chinese. I wouldn't want to be called what the African Americans call themselves black if I was Jamaican or vice versa.
But she switched to be she switched to black now though.
I didn't understand that perspective. Now I kind of get it because it makes sense. If they're not from the same place in the world, you wouldn't identify as the same group. You know, that makes sense.
But I mean, whatever they say, only thing about Kamala, you know, that I probably just like, I read her autobiography, and you know, I've actually read her whole book. I did research on her because she was my first choice. Like at first, like even when the Democrats came in, I was like, if I pick a woman, that would be the one. But as I read about her book and learned more about some of the things she's done and some of her policies, I don't agree with. It don't matter if she's a guy, girl, black, white, Chinese, Mexican, anything. Her policies are some of the things that I don't agree with a lot because I feel like it kind of backslides the communities a little bit and causes a little bit, and I think it causes more tax people payers dollars because she's so bent at getting people like locked up and filling up them jails. And that's what we need to work on is not filling up them jails.
Yeah,
we need to work on keeping people out of jail. No, and that's every color and race. We need to figure out how to empty out them jails. The jails make a lot of money for the government, but that shouldn't be a business. Jail should not be a business. That should be punishment and rehabilitation, not a business. That's how jail is now. Jail is like a business.
And that's what they do. The prison budget into the actual prison's quality themselves instead of just the pockets of the people that run the prisons, you know? Like, how much better?
And I don't think it should be a business. And you're not getting a million jobs from people going to jail. People aren't getting jobs for going to jail. You're getting a lot of labor for half a price. If you do the same labor, you get paid for $10 an hour and generally paid $1.50 an hour. So it's being run as a business. And that's how I feel like Kamala Harris kind of ran it at first. Now, she might have changed. People can change and get better. But as me reading her book and learning about what some of the things she done. Now, she did a lot for gay rights. More power to her. She supported gay marriage and helped that go through in California. Was supported that, which I don't have nothing against that. That is causing equality on a different level of different things. But at the same time, you kind of ran like a tyrant for a minute with the jail business. I want to make sure that she ain't about to railroad everybody on that again. Me just looking at it from an aspect. Joe Biden, I'm cool with Joe Biden.
A little bit worse, right? Because we know Biden's position on marijuana and legalizing it, and clearly she's got a strong position on it as well. Which sucks because, you know, it means it'll probably be another 4 years at least until no matter who wins.
Trump
could do it. He could do it. I feel like he could. I don't think he will because I think he needs the Republicans, but I think he could. I think he could genuinely convince. You could convince him to do it, right? You could say, okay, it's going to make this much money for the country. It's a good deal. You know, all you'd have to hear is Mnuchin tell him that it's a good idea, right? But I don't know that he's necessarily going to do it if a bunch of Republicans come to him and say, hey, we're going to be never Trumpers again if you don't like vote this down or something, you know, like.
I don't know, but it is very entertaining to watch this stuff. Like, I don't really got an opinion on who's what. I just say, like, you know, I read Kamala's book, I read Trump's book, and I read Biden's. I'm like, all of them are like.
It's the absolute best book you've ever read.
I can't give an opinion on it because I don't want nobody to be mad about it. I don't know what to say about this except for.
Listen, if you don't tell them my book is the best book ever, you're fired.
It sounds really good. I'm not gonna lie. The impression sounds pretty good. Anyway,
listen, Melania. I don't know, but I'll tell you what, though. I'll tell you what. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna go back. We're gonna get Melania, and it's just gonna be me and you, Phil. No.
You would take that off. You know you would. Anyway,
Melania,
yeah. And you'd be like, all right, Mr. Trump, get out of here. Bye. And she'd be like,
I'm like, hey, Dad.
Hey, Dad. Dude, I'm like, hey, Dad. If we ever somehow end up in DC and we can find Trump, you have to call him Dad. If that ever happens for some reason.
Ain't gonna wait for the baby to come out like push. It's gonna come out a little black baby. You like,
What
I
happened?
told you I'm not racist.
I told you this was now a one-time thing. What is going on here? I tell you what, though, Tony.
Be like,
I think
start rapping out like, yeah.
I think what Tony was doing just now was colluding with the Russians.
I was. Did you hear they have a coronavirus
Vaccine. Yeah.
apparently?
Yeah, let me just make a. I completely blanked.
No,
on
they
it, yeah.
do got a vaccine because did you see what happened to DeWine?
Oh yeah, we did.
Governor DeWine tested positive for corona.
See, this is what I think happened.
2 days later, he tested negative.
This is what I think happened. They called him and said, "Hey, the president's coming to see you," and he was like, "What? What? Huh?" Well, I oh, you just
so he made it so sick. It was like, tell him I'm positive.
So you're saying our governor didn't want to meet with the president, is what you're saying?
Hey, that is funny.
That is the best answer I've heard.
Hey, that is a really good answer. That's a really good answer. Like, how did like he was positive he was about to meet with Trump. He was like, Trump was coming. He was like,
Mr. Trump is coming up.
I'm positive for corona. As soon as Trump said, I'm going, you know what? I'm just gonna go to Michigan. He was like, oh my gosh, it's a miracle. I'm negative today.
Listen,
Trump, you feel like coming back?
Schedule up. How great you've been doing in Ohio, but the truth is, I don't want to get the virus from you.
Yes.
That is funny. Though. It is like he kind of said he had coronavirus, so that way, like he didn't have to visit Trump. And then as soon as he was like, "I'm not coming anymore," it's like, oh my God, it's a miracle. It's from going to church.
It is pretty.
Jesus.
I didn't even think about that, Tony. That's hilarious.
That is funny like that.
Or there was a game that I made for us forever ago that was a bit that we were going to do that I never ended up doing on the show. If you want to do that now, or we could just do the show. So I have a game called so people will do like, you know, there's some similar sounding things out there, words and stuff like that, and people try and trip you up in certain games. Well, this one, as long as I still have it on my phone, which I should. If I don't, then we'll just kill the bit. No, but if we want, the show will just end. But it should just be right here. Give me 1 second. Wait, is it here? Hold on. Stand by. Okay, it's gone. I thought I had it still. Yeah, no, that's weird. Anyway, it was gonna be if I have it somewhere. I'll have to find it before the next show. I'll just consider this a prep. It's gonna be a Russian diplomat versus hockey player.
Oh, okay.
So you're gonna try and guess if the name is a Russian guy in the Russian government, and these are gonna be outdated. Some of them are gonna be old because I couldn't find a bunch of Russian diplomats from modern times.
Gotcha.
But I figured as a hockey fan, it would be fun for me to get some of the big names of players. I tried to do the ones I talk about on the show so that you guys wouldn't just immediately get it. I probably have
to learn about hockey and start watching it for the fight.
We'll pump that up for next week. So next week, tune in toward the end of the show. We'll do that. Because I don't want to spend 10 minutes searching for it. It won't be worth it in the end. But do you have any more? Do you want to hit any more of the topics we have, boys, or do you want to call it a show? Because we talked about this a little bit, so we kind of hit that. This is the only thing we didn't talk about was the NFL possibly returning.
Yeah, so I mean, from everything I've read, they want it. I mean, again, we kind of grazed over it earlier. How
if they don't bring the NFL back, we are about to die.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I mean, they've already canceled college, so
they're killing my testosterone. I can't do no football. I'm just gonna scroll just to get over it. I can't do without football.
Yeah, I'm definitely worried.
I don't care if they play with just the water boys there.
Right, it's one of those things like DeWine hit it today when he was talking in his newscast about you got people coming from states that are a lot worse off than we are. Like Like Ohio, like
That's what caused our big outbreak, right? With people from Florida and stuff like that.
yeah. So I mean, like, do you want the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming out to Ohio and playing the Cincinnati Bengals?
No, because I don't want Tom Brady to beat us.
Ain't nobody gonna go to a Bengals game anyway. They stadium gonna look the same with or without the coronavirus.
Oh no!
It's the same amount of people there with the corona than without. It's like, what's up? Only reason you going to the Bengals game is to eat and like watch the fireworks after they lose. Like
People that go to like Fairmont
that
games.
should lower your self-esteem going to them guys. That shit low.
Like,
That
Not
shit
even
lower your
joking.
self-esteem. You leave a Bengals game ready to cry like you just left a funeral. You be like, damn, we
Right?
should have went to this game. I messed my whole week up.
you did. Well, if you went last year, you did watch a funeral. You watched the death of Andy Dalton's career
Right. But he's playing for Dallas now, so
as a backup. I mean, he ain't
still,
gonna play unless Dak walks this year, which he might. You know.
I doubt it honestly because like right now
Oh,
he has
Dak out. Whoa.
a situation where like ain't nobody seen him. All they see is last year, and last year he wasn't great. Like he was good, don't get me wrong, but he wasn't great. You know, so I mean, he still needs that year or two next to
No,
kind
that's
of
because they gave Elliott all that money. I wouldn't be great either. I'd have been throwing it in the back of people's helmets too, like bing, bitch.
But why you gonna be mad? That's like me being mad because you make more money than me. Okay.
No, but he like Scottie Pippen on the Bulls. If you've seen it, like Scottie Pippen was like the 122nd most paid player on the championship Bulls team. That Prescott was got what $1 million for a 3-year contract, and then they try to renew it for like $2 million for like 4 more years. No,
Right.
Ezekiel Elliott get $33 million. 33,
He deserves it.
and that don't.
I'm not saying Dak don't, but he's still got to work his way up. I mean, look at what Elliott came
It's
up.
because Dak black. Oh, wait a minute, Ezekiel is too.
Elliott was our first round draft pick. Dak was our last round pick. Let that sink in. Like Dak was our backup, and then he kind of just rolled into a situation. Like Tony Romo, Dak, and boom, let's put, that's why we had Dak. And now he can prove himself. Like he can show that he can take this team. And he has. He's done pretty good things with the team. But is he worth $33 million? I don't think so.
He's worth at least 10.
Definitely. But again, he ain't worth the Elliott money.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers,
also you have to take into consideration they pay quarterbacks and running backs obviously a little differently.
He ain't no Matt Ryan, you know what I'm saying?
$30 million. Dax would probably be more something
Ryan,
like 5 years or 40 or something like that. $40 million over 5 years doesn't seem that unreasonable to me. I don't know why he wouldn't just take that, but but at the same time, I see what you're saying, Tony. The guy was a fourth round pick. He was a middling pick in the draft in terms of numbers. You know what I mean? Like
he lucked in to his situation.
No, I think he absolutely won that job from Tony. I think Tony.
Right, but I'm saying like being drafted when he did.
Right. I mean, okay, yeah. Having Romo have a bad year that year and get injured, yeah, that was really lucky for him. But at the same time, he still had to go out there and prove it.
Right.
And he's won playoff games. He's been to the playoffs 2 or 3 times at this point.
He's a good quarterback.
He's got the ability.
He should be paid. The quarterback should always get paid. That's the most important to get paid. You can say anybody can get injured.
You can't. If you overpay your quarterback, the rest of your team falls apart. So it's like you.
But you have to pay your quarterback. If you don't have no quarterback, your team is not a team at all.
I don't disagree, but you can't say. But it's
Who's
also
gonna pass
like
the ball, the punter.
You could have here's a perfect example. You can have an average tier quarterback and make it decently deep in the playoffs, and I'll tell you why. Derrick Henry and the Titans did it last year.
And the quarterback still has to tell the team to play.
Ryan Tannehill would not have won those games. I'm 100% on that. Ryan Tannehill was having a great year, but he would not have won those games if Derrick Henry hadn't been there to bail him out several times.
You still have to tell teams to play. You still got to be able to tell the team to play. You got to be a leader out there. That should be paid. They should not be they should be paid. The quarterback is the most important factor on the team, besides the coach.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
If any video game you play, you can't play without a quarterback. You're just gonna hike the ball to the running back. I mean, you got to play. You could do a sweep like that where you could run it. If you're running back and throw, everybody ain't gonna be like this dude on Ravens,
Lamar Jackson.
Lamar.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson.
Everybody ain't about to be Lamar Jackson. But you can just hike it and run it. No. Everybody needs somebody that can stand in the pocket and throw a pigeon, and that has proven it. He does pretty good when they have the line to protect him. And Ezekiel out there doing this thing, but Ezekiel be choking too.
Yeah, Zeke has had a couple of rough years recently.
He's not honestly the best running back in the league. I don't even think he's the top 5 right now.
No, he's definitely top 5 for sure. He's just not. I don't think he's top 3. I don't think he's top 2. I don't think he's top 1. I think he's definitely top 5 still. You keep going back
farther and farther. 3, 2, 5. It's.
But I think if I was going to rank the top 5 in the league right now, I would have to think about it for a second. But just off the top of my head, it would be like Christian
that got
McCaffrey.
Off because like that got his first year because they was running Ezekiel.
Probably then Zeke, honestly. Zeke might actually still be in the top 3 for me. He might be number 3 for me because I think
right. I mean, that's why that got off though.
A few others, you don't really have that. You know, like there's teams that have other great running backs, but they're not the McCaffreys, the Henrys, the Elliots of the world that just dominate. They're not those level.
Yeah.
And they're probably a great running. You don't need them to be on the level of these guys, but they're such a great asset to your team when you have a great running game. Some of the guys coming into the league this year, like
a great running game makes your wide receivers always be open.
And DeAndre Swift are about to make the teams they go to significantly better. You know, so it's like it really depends on how this year shakes out because Zeke could be out of the top 10 of running backs this year if those 2 guys plus a couple of other guys come in and have phenomenal years. He could end up in like the 5 to 7 range or something like that, or farther. It just depends. But he could also do a complete opposite, right, and flip it back and have a year like he did in his rookie year. You know, so it's like, who knows what Elliott's going to do? The last 5 years have been interesting, though, or 4 years.
I know. Y'all know we could do a pot. Like, if his team do the best, they get the I don't know.
How much are we throwing in? I'm really confident in the Colts with my boy Philip.
We could do a pot. We could all do just $50 piece at the end of the season. Whoever team do the best, get the whole 150.
I mean, I'll have to hopefully if I lose, I have money at that time to just give. But yeah, I mean, I'm down. You guys want to make that bet?
Or we could do whoever wins get to make the other 2 do 50 push-ups.
Oh, that's usually how we do bets on this show, so that sounds fair to me. What about you, Tony? You good?
50 push-ups. So let's do 50.
50 push-ups? Okay. It's going to be embarrassing if I lose. So
the winner gets to sit there and talk.
And it just is whoever has the best record at the end of the year, right? Like whoever makes the like. So and if so, let's say me, like for example, like because both you guys are NFC.
Whoever team do the worst got to drink a gallon of milk like Tony did.
Oh, don't remind me.
If you guys meet in the playoffs and then one of you wins, does that? Because you technically made it to the same point at that point, but one makes it past. So if you guys like don't meet in the playoffs but are at the same round, do we just consider that like until they actually lose one of them?
So it'll be a tie, I guess.
Until they actually lose. Until somebody loses, because they'll have to play each other in the conference championship eventually.
Right.
Okay, so it'll just be whoever makes it. If you guys make it that deep in the playoffs, it'll just be whoever makes the Super Bowl because it's easy for me. Because even if my team makes the playoffs,
the Colts ain't going to the playoffs.
And the Cowboys completely crap the bed this year, right? They don't make the playoffs, and mine doesn't. It's an automatic win for me.
That's the only thing I can do. Playoffs,
right? If you guys make the playoffs,
I win the Super Bowl.
There's no way I can win. I just realized how badly I am in this bet because you guys are both in the NFC, so the chances that one of you is going to knock out the other are so much higher than mine.
Yeah.
Oh, there's no chance.
Going to win the Super Bowl. So I didn't hear about it.
That's annoying. Unless you guys both get knocked out of the playoffs. That's crazy. Wow, I just made a terrible bet.
No, we are winning the Super Bowl. Falcons are winning the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl. I just realized. All right. Oh, now I had to put
the toilet bowl.
Do what?
That's where y'all gonna be at the toilet bowl.
He ain't winning the Super Bowl.
We winning the Super Bowl. Did y'all know the Atlanta Falcons winning the Super Bowl this year? And Mike Tyson gonna knock out Roy Jones on September 12th.
What are you gonna do when Tom Brady knocks your team out of the playoffs in the second round?
Man, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers ain't gonna win 3 games this year.
They're going to win at least 3. I don't think they're going 2-7 or 2-15 this year.
The Bengals gonna beat them.
Selects Trevor Lawrence. No, but anyway, you know what I mean? The 2-15. They would have to call them the 2-15. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Can you imagine how monumental of a collapse for Brady's career that would be, and how much it would prove Belichick right? That would
make
be
me feel so good, just like that Super Bowl. It made me feel like revenge has been served. You got served.
What happens if the Patriots with Cam Newton beat you guys in the Super Bowl again?
Yeah, Phil.
What happens then? What happens if you guys make it to? What if you make it to the Super Bowl and Cam Newton's Patriots beat you guys?
Then they was out. Obviously, they were flattening footballs.
Hey, that's only I get to complain about that. I'm a Colts fan.
They were obviously flattening footballs and cheating.
Get out of here, deflated
footballs. They were cheating, or Camden's. There were one or the other, or his haircut is messed up. Yeah, his messed up haircut. You see, I got his dreads. He look gay. I'm like, no, he ain't got them. Shit, they would never miss in the Super Bowl. That's perfect. Just like the Bengals beating us in the Super Bowl. No, we're more likely to lose to Colts in the Super Bowl.
Man, what do you think?
Would be to the Super Bowl, and that was what they decided to bet. That would be the most incredible show afterward of that game ever. Because one of us would have actually won the bet in that moment. You know what I mean? That would have been cool. That'd be cool.
But I don't want to be in football. We gotta have football this year. Like we had no basketball. Basketball was offset. Really I'm ready for football. We didn't get no Hall of Fame game in Canton, Ohio.
I know.
And team, like everybody on this, we are going to do a show from a football stadium if they have one, because they're going to be there. We should do one from a stadium. Go to the Bengals game because ain't nobody going to be there, so it'll be plenty of social distancing. Even if the season start off right, still be social distancing.
It's true. Yeah. Okay. So I think we're about coming up on an hour and 20 minutes. This is probably the longest show we've ever done of just straight talking, which is not a problem. I just need to use the bathroom. So, I'm actually going to go and call it a show. It was a good show. We got through all the way. It was a really good. Anything you guys want to add before we end it?
Nope. I think we're good.
Nope, I just want to add. Check out the album tomorrow.
Poison Ivy.
Just like Dr. Phil,
Is it on Spotify?
It's on Spotify, iTunes, TikTok, YouTube. Not ain't gonna be on YouTube. Don't look on there. It's gonna be on Amazon Music, so you'll be able to buy like a hard copy on there. And we'll be up tomorrow. We'll be up at McGuire's and a few other spots tomorrow selling the hard copies.
Yeah, make sure you guys look out for that album for sure, and make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Tempo Podcast YouTube channel. I think even when we go back, if we end up doing these in studio again, I'm going to still probably upload these episodes on there. So make sure you subscribe to keep up to date with the new episodes of Tempo, and we will see you guys all next time.
Yeah, make sure you keep up.
Keep up.
Tempo.